Good morning. Got my morning coffee and a special snack. Yeah, get up to speed here. So, been a busy week. Of course, this is being recorded on Monday. I like these cups, but problem with these little flipper deals is this little flipper deal up here wears out, so I gotta either rip it out or pin it open. So this morning's snack are ho-hos. I believe these are probably the in this day probably the most politically incorrect snack, but whatever. I try to find some ding-dongs because I remember as a kid, other kids would bring these snacks, but they were packed in foil, and they always looked so delicious. You know, growing up, I didn't get snacks, as some of you may know from my other videos, but they always looked so good, and I asked them what they were, and they said they were like ding-dongs. I'm like, what? So I think I have had them once. I saw them in the store and got some, and they were good. They were good. Well, these ho-hos, they're probably smaller, just like the Twinkies, than what most people remember, but it's I'm kind of surprised they aren't clear, but come in these white things instead of the clear cellophane. Traffic a little slow this morning. Usually it's, you know, there's nobody on the road, but oh well, who knows. Alright, so ho-hos are these chocolate snack cakes, and they're covered with some kind of chocolate shell, chocolate magic shell, which is different, I think, than the picture, right? Well, I guess the picture does show them. They're draped in chocolate. So that's it. I can probably shove 2 of these. Maybe I get 10 of these in my mouth. I don't know. We'll have to try that later. From the looks of it, there's mostly cream. There's more cream than cake. Let's look at the box. Looks like there's more of an even distribution, but to me it looks like there's more cream than cake. I really don't think I want to shove 10 of these in my mouth now. They're not as sweet as the Tasty Cake cupcakes. Well, those Tasty Cake cupcakes were making my eyes hurt with all the sugar in it, but they're good, but wow, they're sweeter than I expected. But there you go, there's a ho-ho. Today's morning drive is about growing up poor. Now, I grew up, I didn't know I was poor. And it's all relative. I'm not saying I was like barefoot and wearing ripped clothes poor, although I did wear my share of ripped clothes, but even my neighbors in my neighborhood, they had more disposable income than I did. Well, than my parents did. My mom was a seamstress, and my dad, he didn't work. He retired from civil service. From what I understand, and I gotta look more into this, I know my dad was in the Coast Guard, and he worked, he was like a genius. He actually graduated, from what I was told, again, from MIT. and he was a mechanical engineer. He worked for the Vietnam Power Company in Saigon when he met my mother. And from what my sisters and my brother tell me, he was a very intelligent man, and obviously a very loving man. But anyway, growing up poor was, you don't realize you're poor. I mean, I knew I didn't have as much as other kids, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, where's our next meal coming from? And I'm sure a lot of it stressed my mother out. But, we always had shoes on our feet. We always had food on the table. But I didn't fully understand the extent of our financial situation. And in a way, I think I wouldn't say more responsible, but I'm a cheapskate. Let's put it that way. But little things like that kind of add to the person that I am today. Growing up poor, I did without a lot. Sure, I had I coveted my neighbor's things, not necessarily his wife, because of course he wasn't married. But my friends had better toys and video games and stuff like that, but we made do with what we had. I had I don't know, we got toys for Christmas. The only two times we ever got toys was like for Christmas and our birthday. There weren't any just because gifts that we got. I guess, and yes, we got socks and clothes for Christmas and for our birthday. I remember one Christmas, my mom or somebody had wrapped up balls of socks. That was my Christmas gift. Not just a sock, but that was part of my my Christmas. But it taught me to be resourceful. It taught me that if I really wanted something, I had to work for it, and I didn't just ask for it and got it. Now, of course, that's different in a biblical sense, where in the Bible it does tell you that you don't have because you don't ask, but it doesn't mean you don't have to work for it. So, growing up poor was not as bad as you think it is. Especially when you make it to the other side, where you're not worried about eating, or you're not worried about putting shoes on your feet anymore. And to me, I think it helped me in the long run. The old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So that's my morning drive. Growing up poor has its advantages, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. So don't feel too bad for poor people. Obviously, when they're going through it, it's not pleasant. But I think in the long run, it helps make that person who grew up poor more resourceful and appreciate things more. Of course, it could turn you into a hoarder, but that's another story. All right, take care. Stay safe out there, guys. Have a good day.